Hi everybody, it's Julia, your trusted travel expert, helping you find that je ne sais quoi wherever you are in the world. And my family, when I traveled with them the other week, they made me realize something. I'm so used to traveling all the time that I don't think a lot about all the different things that you need to do right before a trip. And so since I'm getting ready to go on yet another trip in about less than 2 weeks now, I thought I would run through some of the top 10 things that you really want to be aware of and think about before the trip, like 3 weeks before a trip, something like that, your last minute preparations. So the first thing is you want to go and put your hands on your passport. First of all, because if you don't travel a lot, maybe you can't remember where it is and you don't want to be running around freaking out the night before the trip that you can't find your passport. The other thing is you want to double check it. I always ask for my clients' passport copy just so I can also double check, but you want to look at the expiration date, make sure you've got more than 6 months validity, even though some countries don't care, but you want to make sure it doesn't expire really soon. And then the last thing that I really encourage you to do is to go ahead and make a copy of it, or both things, take a photo of it with your camera on your phone, and email a copy of it to yourself. So that way there is a hard copy either at your house or with a trusted, a trusted friend that's not traveling with you. And you also have a copy electronically that you can access with or without your phone. And that's just in case it gets lost or anything crazy happens, then you have backup copies that you can at least show. If you have to go to a consulate last minute, you can use that, and it expedites getting a passport. So that's first thing, make sure your passport is in order. Second thing is to check your Dopp Kit. Now, if you watched my packing video, you know that I kind of leave mine packed at all times, but even that doesn't matter because sometimes you run out of stuff. And so you want to double check it. How is the level in your refillable things? Do you need to refill any of your toiletries? Do you need to buy new travel size? Like I got a new travel size lotion, that kind of thing. And make sure you've got enough toothpaste for your trip. The other thing with checking your Dopp Kit is medicine, and that is especially important if you've got prescription medications. I know sometimes they don't refill, the refilling may fall during your trip or something like that, so you may need to do a little bit of finagling with your local pharmacy to make sure you have enough supply for your trip. Or just also make sure you've got the original prescription bottle in case you lose some or anything like that and you need to refill it while you're gone. But also for regular medicines, besides your prescription medicines, you want to make sure that you've got enough painkillers, sleep medication, whatever it is that you use to sleep. You want to make sure you've got that, Band-Aids, all that good stuff. Make sure your Dopp Kit is good to go. Number 3 thing that you want to have, especially if you're going abroad, only if you're going abroad, because you don't need it in America, you need an adapter. This is a cute little all-in-one adapter from iGo that I got, and it's really cool because it has the UK on this side, and then it's got Australia, little diagonally ones, and Europe, and it also has the American plug and a USB port. So I mean, they have lots of different ones of these now, but you have to have an adapter. You less need power converters anymore because most electronics will have some sort of voltage box on the end of them. Like iPhone chargers, most computer chargers have like a box that handles voltage. But if you are going to travel with like an electric razor or a curling iron or anything that is just a plug into a wall, you want to double check the voltage on it because international voltage is different than American voltage. So adapter and converters if you need it. With that, you want to double check all your electronics, make sure they're all charged up, and then put all the different chargers or cords that you might need into one place. I have one pocket in my suitcase that I usually put them all in. Excuse me, my dog's going crazy. But some people use a packing cube, some people put them in a binder clip, whatever it is. You want to set aside all your electronic chargers in one place and make sure that everything's charged up before you go get on the plane so that you don't have to worry about charging it on the plane. The other thing for preparing for the plane is this is actually an old airline. An airline gave me this kit for an overnight flight, but they don't always do that. Not all airlines do it. and I've just sort of kept it because I thought it was such a great idea. And I just throw this little bag in my purse. I put the adapter in it, and I throw it in my purse, and this is sort of my must-haves for overnight on the plane. It's got my sleep mask, a little sleep mask. This one's kind of crappy. It's falling apart. I need to get a new one. It's got my sleeping medicine that helps me sleep on the plane, earplugs, tissues, some really heavy-duty lip moisturizer and hand moisturizer because you get really dehydrated on a plane. I keep an extra pair of underwear in here just because you never know what can happen. And then I also keep a pair of like the compression socks, or any kind of warm sock would do, especially if you're traveling on overnight flights in the summer. In the summer, you're usually wearing sandals or, not always wearing socks with shoes. And when you're trying to sleep in the plane, you really want to have socks on. It's just cleaner and warmer, cozier, stuff like that. So that's what goes in my little overnight airline kit, is what I call it. So I make sure I have that, and I set that aside with all my chargers, with my passport, and that kind of thing. You also want to, if you're taking any new equipment, like maybe you got a new fancy camera or a new attachment for your iPhone or anything like that, you want to test that out, make sure it works beforehand. Okay, next thing you want to do, sorry, I'm looking at all my notes just because I have so many things that you want to do, is you want to get all your household set up. That includes going to USPS.com, the Postal Service's website, and putting a hold on your mail. This is really helpful so you don't have a pile of mail, and your mailman doesn't try and bring you a bunch of packages or a bunch of mail and it backs up. You also want to, and this is stuff that you've probably thought about and arranged beforehand, but pet care, child care, house care. You might want to have somebody stopping by the house to feed water the plants, just, check on things for you. That's definitely something you want to have set up. Obviously, childcare, that's going to be one of your top priorities. For me, I know pet care is. But that is definitely one thing. The holding of the mail is something that people don't think about a lot, and it is actually a really good safety thing. So robbers don't see mail backed up at a house. Paper, if you get a paper delivery, that's another thing you want to pause. Things to think about. And then more like a few days before you leave, right before you're about ready to pack, you want to check the weather because it can change a lot. I know 2 weeks before our trip, the family trip to Europe that I just had, it was like some crazy heat wave and it was 100 degrees in Europe every day, and we were like, what? And I know it's like that right now in Europe. But then a couple days before our trip, it dropped and all of a sudden it was gonna be really cool. So we quickly had to sort of adjust our packing and add a cardigan, add an extra pair of pants instead of a skirt, that kind of thing. So, I mean, I start looking at the weather about a week or 2 weeks out, but really the last couple days is really when you refine packing. And then once you're packed up and you're ready to go, you want to try and get your house cleaned up. Like some people might want to change your sheets, clean out your fridge, not clean it out, but make sure you don't have a lot of stuff that might spoil, because it's really nice when you come home from a really great vacation to come home to a cleaner house, not a gross fridge, maybe a nicely made bed. All of those things help, help when you get home. So those are 8-10 things that you really want to think about in the last couple of weeks before your trip to help you get prepared and make sure you're not running around like a chicken with your head cut off that last day or two before your trip. So if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.